Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Practical Organic Living. In today's episode, we're going to be refreshing the Greenstalk planter and also planting out berry root strawberries because now it's spring and spring means it's time to plant new berries. So let me show you how to first change out the soil. So I'm going to first show you why you want to actually change out the soil after a couple of seasons. So if we remove the first layer, you'll see that the soil has pretty much decomposed and it's pretty compressed. And I'm going to bring this over to the table and show you what the soil actually looks like inside. So if I dig in the soil, you'll see that the roots have taken all over. So the roots are pretty much going to choke themselves out and the strawberries won't grow very well. So you want to refresh this so that they have a lot more room to start growing again and to produce better berries. So what I'm actually going to do is pour this out onto this tarp here. So this is an easier way to refresh the soil if you just take out each layer of the Greenstalk planter and dump it out on the tarp. So that's what I'm going to do here. So take a look. I mean, these are getting root bound and root bound plants are never a good thing. That's why we're going to refresh this up using a particular mix I like to use for strawberries in a Greenstalk planter. Alright, so as you can see, we've emptied out everything in our Greenstalk planter. So this is what the soil looks like from our Greenstalk planter. And as you can see, all the containers, all the layers are root bound. So that's a sign that we need to change up the soil. So the soil mix we're going to be using for our containers is going to be a blend of peat moss here, regular container potting soil, and some organic fertilizer. So let me explain why we chose these three ingredients. Strawberries thrive in a slightly acidic soil, which means your pH wants to be around 5.5 to 6. Now, most container mixes will have a neutral pH of 7. A peat moss will have a pH about 3 or 4, I think. So if you mix them, theoretically you get a soil mix with slightly acidic pH. So what I'm going to do now is put the soil on the tarp and we're going to mix it. So as you can see, the potting soil mix is usually a bunch of ground up wood chips mixed with some vermiculite and maybe some peat moss or coconut coir. But the reason why you want to use a base of peat moss is that this retains water a lot better than this. And in our really dry, arid climate in the summer, these plants are going to be screaming for water. So it's really important to keep your strawberry plants hydrated if you want big, beautiful berries. All right, so it's time to start mixing. So what I'm going to do now is actually put the soil into these Greenstalk containers. So I'm going to get a shovel now and shovel my soilless mix into these containers. And then you want to level it out. So you want to fill the soil to about this level because the soil is actually going to compress after you water this in. Okay, so I'm going to do this for all 5 of these containers and I'll show you what they look like afterwards. So it's now time to start planting strawberries. So these strawberries were actually berry root strawberries that we received a couple weeks ago, but I didn't have time to plant them out. So I put them into little containers filled with coconut coir, I believe, and I just let this sit outside and establish its root structure. So we take this out, you can see it's not root bound, and there's actually a bunch of little tiny white roots coming out. So that's how you know this is a healthy transplant. To actually plant this in a container, all you do is dig a small hole, place it closer to the edge because the strawberry is actually going to spill over the sides, and just put the soil back in. So I'm going to do this for this entire container and I'll show you what this looks like afterwards. Now, I get asked a lot how you fertilize strawberries. So we actually made a video about that explaining in detail how we actually fertilize strawberries. But to answer the question really quickly, it depends how you want to actually fertilize the strawberries. So we choose to use granular organic fertilizer because it's a little longer lasting and we eat organically. The way you want to fertilize if you're doing it organically, using a granular fertilizer, is actually not to mix the fertilizer into the mix when you're mixing it because a lot of it's just going to drain off. What you want to do is sprinkle a little around the edges of the strawberries. I like to do this in the middle of the container. Now the reason why you do this away from the roots is because the strawberry roots are actually going to spread out. they want to go find nutrients. So if you put them right next to the strawberry, you're gonna actually rot the crown. The crown's just the chunky main stem of the strawberry plant. So you want to sprinkle however much you want. All right, now we're all done with the strawberry plants. So I'm gonna put the last layer on top here. And now I'm gonna put the watering tray on top. So voila, all planted out. All right, so we're done planting our strawberries in the Greenstalk planter. So what we did today was we refreshed the soil and we planted new strawberries. The last step after planting strawberries is to water them very thoroughly. So with the Greenstalk planter, you can actually water in this watering tray. So I'm gonna start watering here. You wanna usually water up to this mark, but because this is our first time watering this planter, we're gonna let it sit and soak for a little bit. And as you can see, there's the drainage hose from the Greenstalk that drains the water away. So we've actually conveniently put the hose in this location where we can actually water the raspberries at the same time. So any excess water or fertilizer that leaches into the water will drain out through the hose to our raspberry plants. So that's why we don't fertilize our raspberries, because we just utilize the excess water from the Greenstalk planter. So thank you everyone for watching our video. We hope this taught you a few ways to refresh the Greenstalk planter. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out our other videos on planting strawberries and fertilizing strawberries. And we hope to see you in the next video. Bye everyone.